I used to believe that love was unbreakable, that when you gave someone your heart, they would guard it as carefully as you did theirs. I was wrong. When I first met Daniel, it felt like fate. He was everything I thought I wanted: handsome, confident, and the kind of man who seemed to make every room brighter. The first time he laughed at one of my silly jokes, I remember thinking, this is it. This is the man I'm going to build my life with. Our story moved fast. Within weeks, we were inseparable. He took me on late-night drives where we'd talk about our dreams. He surprised me with flowers just because he said my smile made his day. He even got along with my family, something that meant the world to me. Everyone said we looked like the perfect couple, and for a while I believed it too. Daniel wasn't just my boyfriend. He was my best friend, my safe space, and the person I trusted most. I thought we were building a future together: marriage, kids, a home filled with laughter. I even caught myself browsing wedding dresses late at night, imagining walking down the aisle with him waiting at the end. But behind his charming smile, there were cracks I didn't want to see. At first, it was small things: a canceled date here, a late reply there. He'd tell me he was busy with work, and I believed him because I wanted to. I told myself, he's ambitious. He's just focused on his career. Don't overthink it. But then came the lies, the little inconsistencies in his stories, the business trips that didn't quite add up, the friends I'd never heard of before. When I asked questions, he'd laugh and call me paranoid, pulling me close and whispering that I had nothing to worry about. And I believed him, because that's what love does. It blinds you. Looking back, the signs were all there. But at the time, I ignored them. I thought real love meant trust, even when things didn't make sense. I didn't know that trust would become the weapon he used to break me, because one night, one unforgettable night, everything I thought I knew about Daniel, about us, would be ripped apart in front of everyone I loved, and the humiliation I felt that night still burns inside me to this day. But that was also the night I decided I would no longer be the victim of his betrayal. That was the night my revenge truly began. And what happened next, no one could have seen coming. The night it all came crashing down started like a dream. Daniel had told me his company was hosting a formal dinner party. He wanted me there by his side, the most important woman in his life, he said with that smile I once melted for. I remember standing in front of the mirror that evening, adjusting the navy blue dress I'd saved for a special occasion. My mom had called me earlier, telling me how proud she was of me and Daniel. "You two are such a strong couple," she said. I carried those words with me, thinking this night would only prove her right. When we walked into the ballroom, heads turned. Daniel held my hand tightly, guiding me through the crowd, like he was proud to show me off. For a while, I believed it. People smiled, congratulated him on his recent success, and some even whispered to me about how lucky I was to have a man like him. But then I noticed something. Across the room, a woman kept looking at him. Not the kind of casual glance you give a stranger, but the kind of look filled with history. Her eyes lingered too long, her smile a little too familiar. And Daniel, he looked back, just for a second, but I saw it. That silent acknowledgement two people share when they know each other too well. I tried to brush it off. I told myself, maybe she's just a coworker. Maybe I'm overthinking. But the uneasy feeling in my stomach wouldn't go away. As the evening went on, Daniel became harder to pin down. He excused himself for work talk more than once, disappearing into groups of colleagues while I stood there making small talk with strangers. Every time I caught sight of him, that same woman was nearby, always laughing at his jokes, always leaning in a little too close. Then came the moment that shattered everything. A mutual friend, half drunk and completely unaware of the storm brewing inside me, pulled me aside and whispered, "Wow, I can't believe Daniel brought you here tonight." He usually comes with Jessica. That was her name, the woman whose eyes had been following him all evening. My heart dropped. My mind spun. I asked him as calmly as I could who Jessica was. His response? A nervous laugh, followed by, "Babe, she's just a friend. Don't make a scene." But I wasn't imagining it. And deep down, I knew. The truth was standing right there in front of me. Still, I didn't have the full picture yet. I didn't know just how deep his betrayal went. Because what happened next happened in front of everyone. And it was a scene none of them would ever forget. The music was soft, the clinking of glasses echoing through the ballroom, but in my head, everything was silent. My heart pounded so loudly, I could barely hear the conversations around me. I kept watching Daniel, and every time his eyes found hers, I felt another crack splinter inside my chest. Then it happened. The host invited Daniel to the stage to say a few words about his recent promotion. He adjusted his tie, kissed my cheek quickly, almost too quickly, and walked up with his usual confident stride. I stood near the front, smiling proudly, trying to push away the storm brewing inside me. But before he could even begin speaking, Jessica joined him on stage. She slipped her hand into his like it was the most natural thing in the world. My stomach twisted. I waited for him to pull away, to correct the mistake, to prove me wrong. But he didn't. Instead, he smiled. And then, with a voice that carried across the entire hall, she introduced herself as his girlfriend. The room gasped. Some people laughed nervously, unsure if it was a joke. My glass slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor, but no sound could compete with the breaking of my heart in that moment. Daniel froze for a second, but instead of denying it, instead of protecting me, he just stood there, silent, guilty. His eyes met mine, and in that instant I knew everything. Every late reply, every cancelled plan, every excuse. It had all been her. The whispers started. Faces turned toward me. I felt exposed, humiliated, betrayed in front of colleagues, friends, and strangers. The kind of pain that makes your knees weak, that makes your chest ache so badly you can't breathe. But even through the tears welling in my eyes, something inside me hardened. I realized this wasn't just his betrayal. It was his arrogance. He thought I'd stay silent, swallow my pride, and walk away quietly. He didn't know me at all. I stepped forward, every ounce of my body trembling, but fueled by something deeper: anger, dignity, and the refusal to let him control the narrative. My voice shook at first, but then it grew stronger as the words poured out. "Funny," I said loudly enough for the crowd to hear, "because I'm the woman who's been by his side for the last 2 years, the one his family thought he'd marry, the one who supported him through everything while he was sneaking around with her." The entire ballroom fell silent. Jessica's hand slipped out of his. Daniel's confident facade cracked, and for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. And in that moment, I realized the tables had turned. This wasn't just his stage anymore. It was mine. And I wasn't about to let the show end quietly. The silence in that ballroom was deafening, but inside me, something had shifted. For the first time in months, maybe even years, I felt powerful. He had taken my trust, my love, and thrown it away. but I wasn't going to let him take my dignity, too. People's eyes darted between Daniel and me, waiting to see what would happen next. He tried to speak, to stumble out some excuse, but I lifted my hand to stop him. "No," I said firmly, my voice steady now. "You've lied enough." I turned to the audience, letting them hear the truth he had tried so hard to hide. "Do you all want to know the real Daniel? The man who tells me he's working late when he's really out with her? The man who lets me plan a future while he's already living a double life?" Gasps filled the air. Jessica shifted uncomfortably, realizing she wasn't the shining prize she thought she was. She was the secret. Then I did something he never expected. I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. Over the past few weeks, I'd been keeping messages, screenshots, and even voicemails. Tiny moments that didn't make sense at the time, but that I saved because something in me already knew. I projected them onto the screen behind him, thanks to the event's open media connection. The crowd watched as his late-night work emails popped up as texts to Jessica. His business trips exposed as weekend getaways with her. His words, his lies, his betrayal, all displayed in front of everyone he had tried so hard to impress. Daniel's face turned pale. The confident man I once knew was gone, replaced by someone small, cornered, and desperate. I looked at him one last time, my voice calm but cutting like glass. "You thought I'd be too weak to fight back. You thought I'd stay quiet, humiliated and broken. But you underestimated me, Daniel. And you always will." Then I walked off that stage, leaving him standing there, his perfect image shattered. The room erupted, not in applause, but in murmurs, whispers, and judgmental stares that followed him like a shadow. That night, I didn't just walk away from Daniel. I walked away from the version of myself who accepted excuses, who ignored red flags, who thought love meant sacrificing my worth. In the weeks that followed, I focused on me. I poured myself into my career, into friendships that truly mattered, into rebuilding the confidence he tried to tear down. I cut my hair, changed my style, and every time I looked in the mirror, I saw strength staring back at me. And here's the sweetest part of revenge: success. While Daniel's reputation at work crumbled after that very public humiliation, mine only grew. People admired my courage, my strength to expose the truth, my refusal to stay silent. Daniel lost his image. I found myself. And the moral? Never let someone convince you that your silence is loyalty. Sometimes the loudest thing you can do for yourself is speak the truth, because the truth is the ultimate revenge.